Hi guys, welcome back, or just welcome if it's your first time to the channel. So once again, I'm the Dave half of Dave and Diane Throwing Caution to the Wind, and today I'd like to talk to you about an item we bought since hitting the road that I think we use more than anything else when it comes to items inside the coach, and that is a Berkey water filter. So when we first hit the road, we carried a Brita water filter with us, and I think most of you know what that is. A water pitcher with a filter, and we keep it in the refrigerator, right? So it worked out pretty well, and we were pretty confident in that until we hit a couple areas of the country that the water was just horrible. It's had a horrible odor coming out of the spigots, even though we ran our water through an outdoor water filter and an onboard water filter. Even coming out of the faucet, the water was still just horrible. So we were pushing that Brita to its limits, I think, for purifying water. So at that point, we started thinking about researching another solution to purified water, and we started buying water in a bottle. Well, that wasn't a big deal. What is it, $3 for 36 bottles of water on average, I guess, if you don't go buy the fancy name brand stuff. And that worked okay, except for one thing: the plastic bottles. So Diane is a huge recycler, and I'm a recycler if it's easy. So if there's recycling in the area, I'm all for it. Diane, on the other hand, if we had to go 2 and 3 weeks to find some place to recycle, she would want to carry those bottles with us until we found a spot. Not all parts of the country are that big into recycling, so that caused a little friction between Diane and I. And that's not good when you're living in 400 to 450 square foot, right? You all know how that is. So that just upped our game when it came to trying to find a water filter. Well, every time I started researching, I spent hours reading and watching videos and whatnot on water filters, and the Berkey always came up to the cream of the crop. So, but they're not that cheap. So I had to justify, in my mind, spending the money on a Berkey for us to use. So I'm going to give you an idea how my mind worked around getting past the price. So we had the Brita. We paid about $25 for the Brita pitcher. We use about 2 gallons of water a day for coffee and drinking water, and that's mainly what we're worried about being filtered. And then Brita says you should change the filter every 40 gallons. So I'm going to use an 8-year period just for the sake of this video. And I know we used the Brita longer than 8 years, and I plan on using the Berkey longer than 8 years. So it's a good number to use, and you'll see why I'm using it here pretty soon. So okay, so if you look at a few things, $25 for the filter for the Brita pitcher, no big deal. 2 gallons a day, our average usage. They say change the filter every 40 gallons. The filters, when you buy in packs of 6, are about $3 a piece. So 2 gallons a day, 8 years, that's about 5,840 gallons of water. Remember that number, 5,840 gallons through the Brita in 8 years. So if you take that into account and you change the filter every 40 gallons, we used roughly 146 filters over 8 years. Now, at $3 a piece, not a big deal, but over 8 years, we spent $438 just on filters. And then you add on the $25 for the pitcher. Again, not a big deal spread out over 8 years. But keeping in mind Diane likes to recycle, and she sees us throwing those plastic filters in the landfill every month or whatever, yeah, that wasn't a good thing either. So then if you take into account that we probably were not that good about changing the filter every 40 gallons, so that kind of defeated the purpose of even using that Brita filter. Sometimes it might have been 50 gallons or 60 gallons before we changed it, and that's defeating the purpose. So then we look at the Berkey. So the size we got is the travel Berkey, and it fits underneath our counters. It's supposed to filter 2 gallons of water an hour, so that's way more than what we need to have a day, even though it doesn't really filter 2 gallons an hour, we found. But regardless, that's what the website says. So the travel Berkey was $280, and it came with 2 black Berkey filters. The filters are good for 6,000 gallons. So now remember back, what was that number I said? Remember, 5,840 gallons over 8 years. The 2 filters here are good for 6,000 gallons. So that's 8 years of use for us, right? So now you know that 8-year period. So now if you look at that, the Berkey at $280 and not have to buy any more filters for 8 years, that's cheaper than running the water through the Brita that we had before. And in doing my research, the Berkey takes far more chemicals out of the water than the Brita did. So if you look at it overall, we should have went to a Berkey years ago, and we'd have been drinking better water, and we would have saved a few pennies every month. But it's not all about the money, right? It's the good quality of water that we drink. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. And one more thing, if you do happen to pick up a Berkey down the road, I'll give you a little tip. So for us, this fit our counter height. They do have a little platform you can sit this on, so you can put a glass underneath it. But unless you have a short glass, it's not going to do any good. So typically, what we do is we keep our water in a jug like this, a couple of them actually in a refrigerator. This happens to be a Pure Leaf tea jug. That's what I drink when I'm not drinking water. So what we will do, this is in two containers right here. So the top container has the 2 filters. You pour the water in it, it filters through, and the filtered water goes in the bottom compartment. You probably already know this. So what we would do, we drink the water in a bottle. When this is empty, we fill this up out of the spigot. We pour it in up top by the filters. As soon as we do that, we fill this bottle back up from the filtered water down below. Now what that allows that to do, you've taken this much water out of the bottom, you just put that much water in top, that water has a place to go. We made the mistake that probably everybody that has bought a Berkey has had happen. We got ahead of ourselves in putting water in faster than we were taking water out. Woke up one morning and the counter was full of water. We figured, what the heck? Well, if this is full, the water's still going to filter and it should equalize, but because this is 2 sections, the water pushes up out through the seam right here and just kind of trickles onto the countertop. It's not a huge mess, it's not like gallons of water, but the countertops were wet. It took us twice to figure that out. We're slow learners, but you think we figured it out the first time, but we did that twice, and we have not made that mistake in quite some time. So just a little tip. And as far as cleaning the filters go, depending on the area that you're at and the quality of water you have to filter, you might have to do it once a month, maybe 2 or 3 months. You have to clean those filters, but you just take it apart, put them in the sink, use a scrub brush, clean the outsides, put it back together, and you're good to go for another month to 3 months. So that'll be another video. I'll do a video on cleaning filters one of these days, but it's a simple process. It may take you 15 minutes, not a big deal. Okay, that's it. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, how about giving us a thumbs up? Maybe even hit that subscribe button. That'd be fantastic. And I guess that's it. I'll see you in the next video.